Okay, so, the election's been the focus of everyone's attention for months now. It seems like all eyes are on the elections. And the last 6 months saw attacks on women's rights reach new heights as politicians were scrambling desperately for votes, especially women's votes. We saw the term gender gap become a popular new media buzzword, used to talk about the difference in support from women between the Republicans and the Democrats. So everywhere, you're reading about this gender gap. And what they're talking about is, Obama getting more women's votes than Romney. So the role of our votes in the election became the subject of just a frenzy in the last few days. Everyone was talking about who are women going to vote for. Meanwhile, we weren't hearing the words equal pay a lot. Our continuing struggle for equality in the workplace wasn't mentioned at all. We saw the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act presented as the end of pay inequality, when in reality it only extends the rights of women who can afford to pursue a lawsuit against their employers. We saw devastating austerity measures presented as a solution to the financial crisis that wasn't caused by the women and children who suffer from these cuts to public and social services, but by the criminal executives who are still unpunished. So election season's finally over, and some people are saying, the war on women is over and women won. But inequality persists, and our rights are still under attack. At the local, state, and national level, women are still facing budget cuts, discriminatory laws, harassment, and violence. So for months leading up to the election, we saw bill after bill introduced. Johanna mentioned a lot of them. Introduced or passed, designed to limit our access to reproductive services or to impose invasive and stringent regulations and requirements designed to intimidate women from seeking access to health care. We saw Congress's inability to pass a comprehensive Violence Against Women Act. We saw slashes to social services, deep cuts to education, lip service paid to the LGBT community to win votes, and a continuation of deportations under the Obama administration. All of these things hit women hardest. We saw attacks on abortion rights expand to include victims of rape and incest. In fact, we saw many attempts to redefine the word rape. It was right before the national conventions over the summer when Todd Akin made that comment about legitimate rape. The language forcible rape is almost becoming accepted as though there's another kind of rape. And that's showing up in legislation and documents. It's being accepted as this new term. We heard from Richard Murdoch, who said when a woman gets pregnant from being raped, it's something that God intended. All these ridiculous, dangerous claims make women furious, and that's what kind of motivated us to fight back. So statements and actions like Murdoch's, like Akin's, had a huge effect on people in the United States. In the lead up to the election. There's no denying that there's been a sense of sort of demoralization among many of the liberal and progressive people who voted for Barack Obama in his first term. Many people wanted change badly after 8 years of Bush and the beginning of this historic economic crisis. People were inspired to action through the first Obama campaign. But the administration hasn't lived up to those hopes and the expectations of the people who've been so inspired to vote for him. We've seen our friends and colleagues demoralized, unsure, in this last election if they were going to vote for Obama again. But considering the statements that we heard from Akin, Murdoch, Joe Walsh, there's a whole team of them. It's in addition to the arrogance, the disdain for women shown by the candidates, Romney and Ryan, it's really no wonder, no surprise that women, all voters and women in particular, were re-energized, and they were determined to get out the vote in this election in November. Despite the administration's failures and disappointments, the alternative offered a possible reality for this country that was absolutely terrifying. To paraphrase our own Johanna De Leon, Obama promises us hope that becomes only dreams. Romney offers us nightmares that could become reality. Yeah. So women rejected that nightmare of a Romney presidency and the vicious anti-woman rhetoric of the Republican Party. Voters across the United States rejected the kind of politics that uses our rights, attacks on our rights, to try and win votes. So not only Mitt Romney, but also Todd Akin, Richard Murdoch, Roger Rivard, Joe Walsh, Florida's Anti-Woman Amendment 6, all the most notable candidates in the war on women lost in a big way on Election Day. So while we probably won't be subject to the kind of outright attacks that would have come with a Republican administration, sorry, I made some notes here. Well, we probably won't be subject to the same kind of outright attacks that we would have seen under a Romney administration. Our security isn't guaranteed by having Democrats in that office. It doesn't guarantee anything. The political landscape now is actually very similar to what we've been living with for the last 2 years when the war on women has been happening. To be honest, we've seen a lot of compromises over the last 4 years when it comes to women's rights. When it's been politically advantageous, as one of the other speakers mentioned, the Obama administration and the Democratic Party have repeatedly conceded our rights to the right wing. Rather than fight against the anti-choice forces, they conceded when Republicans opposed a 2009 provision for family planning. In 2011, the White House took an unprecedented step of overruling the FDA to keep Plan B away from young women. We mentioned the budget compromise with John Boehner. This was July 2011. President Obama said, "I'll give you abortion in D.C., meaning low-income women in the District of Columbia would be prevented from receiving Medicaid offered by the D.C. government for abortion procedures. So while President Obama is not a right-wing pro-lifer, it's obvious that we can't rely on him or on any politician to defend our rights. Our work is far from done. This administration has continued to wage war in the form of occupation and sanctions against independent nations around the world. It's deported millions of immigrants and refused to consider any form of amnesty or true immigration reform. Over the last 4 years, banks and corporations have gotten richer, while public and social services have been slashed and unions put on the defensive. Some limited reforms in healthcare and progressive steps for the towards LGBT equality have been made, but mostly as the result of a struggle on the part of those communities, as a result of a movement, rather than leadership by the heads of the Democratic Party. So Barack Obama was reelected because of this widespread and growing sentiment among the majority of people in this country that's shifting to become more progressive, and because the composition of the electorate has changed. Romney and Ryan represented sort of this all-out assault on women's rights, on immigrants, on working people, on the poor, and a vote for Obama, rather than a vote for his particular policies, which are actually quite similar to Romney's, was really a vote against these reactionary forces, a rejection of this sort of hateful politics. So 93% of African American voters, over 70% of Latinos, over 70% of Asian Americans supported Obama. 55% of women, 60% of young people 18 to 29, 76% of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people all voted for Obama. So what does this mean for us? How does all this affect women's rights and the struggle to defend those rights? Well, there's a record-breaking number of women in the Congress, and that's a victory worth celebrating, even though we still have nothing like equal representation in the government. In fact, the landscape as far as the percentages and majorities in the congressional assemblies have remained very similar. But what we've seen is that the attitudes of people around the country are changing. Obama won because of these progressive sentiments in the population. The numbers are growing for those who believe in defending the rights of the people. In a highly significant exit poll, 66% of voters stated that they favored a pathway to citizenship for undocumented people. The majority of the people who voted support abortion rights. For the first time, a majority throughout the country supports marriage equality for LGBT people, not just civil unions, but marriage. So we're here now because we believe that it's crucial for us to come together and to fight. And we know that there are many other people out there who agree with us, who agree with our demands to support and defend women's rights. So it's our obligation to ask them to join our struggle out in the streets. We're building a movement, and it's together that we can win, so now's the time to act. Obama voters will be disappointed again, and the difference between the change that people want and the change that Obama and the Democratic Party is able to offer is only going to become more clear as we go forward. So it's more necessary than ever now to build our movement. The new administration, or the second Obama administration, will not defend women's rights for us. And the right wing is going to continue to attack women and our most basic fundamental rights. But we can end those attacks. There's a force capable of stopping these attacks on women's rights, and that force is an independent, grassroots movement of women and our supporters. We know the power of social justice movements throughout history, not just the women's movement, but many movements that have made great gains through the years, decades of struggle. There are always successes and shortfalls, but we know that it's only the force of the people united that has ever brought change. Yeah. So that's why we organize, and that's why we ask you to join with us. So what's next? In addition to this forum today, there are work forums happening this weekend in cities across the country discussing the election, planning for the days ahead, and the months ahead, and the years ahead. In Washington, D.C., we're preparing to participate in the inauguration, to make women's voices heard, to demand that women's rights be defended. We're continuing to promote the Women's Rights Pledge that you saw earlier, and we're also preparing for another National Day of Action, which will be on March 8th for International Women's Day. Our rights have never been given to us, and they never will be. Our rights won't be upheld on our behalf simply because it's the right thing to do. We have to fight for the things we need, and to stand in defense of the rights that we've won through perseverance. So we hope together that we can build a new fighting women's movement that's so desperately needed. Get involved, stay involved, be a part of the new movement to defend women's rights. We won't stop until we reach full equality for all people, and we will never go back.